coming to my next question, I would like to know how do you feel the IBC and the insolvency proceedings are affecting the economy? Are they helping the economy?
Yes, they are helping the economy. If you see a lot of productive assets going bad are getting recovered, a lot of loans being given by the lenders, taken over by ARCs ultimately, or then again from ARCs they are shifting hands to again MNCs and companies who will make that bad asset productive again. You were seeing a lot of alternative capital coming into India. You can see a lot of foreign capital coming into India. There are a lot of investors who are interested in buying these assets. So ultimately, there is a lot of inflow of capital which is there. Obviously, once people would buy these assets, they would like to make expansion also. So there will be enhancement in these production lines. Employment would be generated. Uh, so yeah, there's a positive impact which has been created by this regulation, obviously.
So, what is your view on this, Amrish?
Yeah. So as Dr. Mathur has said that the ranking of India has improved in terms of doing business in India. So the ranking has improved from 142nd place in 2014 to 52nd place in 2019, where I would say IBC has really played a very vital role because IBC has resulted in improving the investor sentiments in Indian market. Now investors know that there could be a resolution within a very specified time frame and they can get their money back. Therefore, now they're more inclined towards investing money in Indian economy. And with the money circulating, it always helps for developing economy like India. So from that perspective, this is a great law which got implemented, I would say, at a right time with increasing problems of NPS. And it's a long road ahead right now, but we are hopeful that we should keep getting better result. Even the success rate, if we see right now under IBC as compared to the earlier laws, the success rate is much higher. It is almost like 40% in some of the cases, which is against 15% in the earlier law like SARFAESI Act. So from that perspective, it has been a good hit as of now, and we are hopeful it should keep on adding more feathers to Indian economy.
Right. What about you, Dr. Charu? What do you feel?
See, just as Amrish has just said, the rate of recovery in IBC is very high. So you need to realize that IBC is only one way of recovering debt. There are, of course, other ways of selling it to asset reconstruction companies or ARC. Corporate settlements are also in, then SARFAESI is also a way out. But as Amrish has just said, and as Gandharv has also elaborated earlier, the success rate is almost 40 to 45% in IBC, whereas it is ranks between 12 to 15% under SARFAESI. And thereafter, when you even put a asset under SARFAESI and all, you are not getting the product back into the market. It takes a lot of time, and assets actually starts getting rot. So I believe IBC is the one legislation which will put Indian economy in the boom cycle again. And as far as NPAs are concerned, the figures speak for themselves that uh, the amount of money that has come back into the system is tremendous. You are talking in the terms of lakhs and crores of rupees that is back into the economy. Now, who would have known that SR Steel, the Ruyas, would have to be decamped from their own companies, and Lakshmi Mittal will come and take SR, and to take so he has to clear the NPA of another company, Uttam Galva. So, in my view, IBC is a beautiful piece of legislation. This is the legislation which will, in my opinion, will put Indian economy back in saddle.
So, if you can quickly sum up the hits and misses for us.
So Vijitri, see, it has been a IBC has been a roller coaster ride with its own ups and downs. And what I can say is that in the history of India, the unprecedented success that this regulation has got in terms of resolving companies has never seen before. In terms of hits, as Amrish and Dr. Charu has already elaborated, I think there has been a behavioral change now. So you can see the management taking corrective actions at the very start of signs of stress. Before, what used to happen was that people used to wait till the very last end of the tunnel. They used to actually see that what happens if the companies get into the SARFAESI or maybe all of these dispute resolution mechanisms, and then they used to take corrective actions if needed be. But now, even at the one sign of stress, they know that there is a very hard regulation which is in place, and they would be actually kicked out of the company, and there will be a resolution professional who would actually sit in their places to govern the company. So that has been one of the behavioral change, I think, is the most important thing which is now this IBC code has brought in. In terms of misses, I think the code is not perfect yet. There are a lot of there is a lot of room for improvement, and obviously there are challenges which needs to be overcome. So let's see how it goes ahead.
So coming to you, Amrish, how have the concepts of valuation evolved and developed under IBC?
So the concept of valuation under IBC has evolved over a period of time. Initially, when the law was implemented, as a valuer, we just required to determine the liquidation value of the corporate debtors. And slowly, the concept of liquidation and fair value has been introduced. Though we have discussed in detail in our course with EBC Learning that why the concept has changed from liquidation value to fair value, but I would like to briefly discuss here also why the concept being introduced for fair value. So what happened when the law said that as a valuer we have to determine the liquidation value? Liquidation value by definition means that we have to assume there is a hypothetical termination of the business. So we calculate a liquidation value under scenario that the business is not going concern, which really impacting the fair value of any underlying asset. Therefore, if you see, and we also discussed a lot in our course, that initially the major cases which happened under IBC, the liquidation value was just 20% of the total claims which was filed with the RP. So everyone got surprised, even the members of committee of creditors, they were surprised at how come a value of a company was significantly lower as compared to the value which were in their records. At a time, as a valuer, we have to explain the concept of liquidation value to the COC members, to the resolution professional. And when even the lawyers, they will able to understand how a liquidation value and fair value are different, they introduced a concept of fair value where now we have to value a company as a going concern. And so after almost a year, the concept of fair value got introduced. Further, initially, our valuations were disclosed to the COC members at the initial stage. So as soon as we completed our exercise, the valuation got disclosed to the COC members in their meetings. So what happened? If the valuation number is on a lower side and that number is available in public domain, so there was no buyer who was putting a number higher than that liquidation value or maybe a fair value. Therefore, in the current law, it says that the value will be disclosed only when the resolution plans have been put forward, has been put in front of COC members. And once the resolution plans are there, then they will compare the value which are given in the resolution plan with the value which a valuer has computed. So now the valuation is more from a comparison perspective, so that once the resolution plans are there, the COC member could take an appropriate decision. Now, it's really depend upon the buyers that how they evaluate a particular company. They have to put forward their bid, and it is not dependent upon the value what we have determined. And therefore, for a specific buyer who can really get very good synergies, they may really put a very fair or very good price for an asset. So therefore, if we see how the concept has evolved from liquidation to fair value, and from a point where the values were disclosed to COC members much before the resolution plan, now it is being disclosed after the plans are there on the table.